one much further than that.
Oh, universe.
Can I introduce Mike Spry, who has been a postman for
Nearly 40 years.
nearly 40 years. He's worked in towns and villages, and he's going to reminisce with us and give us some facts, figures,
Yeah, facts, figures.
whatever.
And some humour.
That's what we like, a bit of humour. Welcome, Mike, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you very much for inviting me to talk this afternoon. Can everybody hear?
yes.
Okay, so I need glasses now, the eyes have started to. The arms won't get any longer. So it was 1974 that I started in the post office. My father suggested that I join him, because my father was also a postman and used to deliver the night mail to Horton. I used to drive up here from Exeter from about the mid-60s, I suppose. And one night in 1969, Tony Bridges was washed away in a bad thunderstorm, and he got to Horton, but of course he couldn't get back, so they sort of rerouted him. But yeah, he used to come up and deliver the mail. Yeah, but the nice thing was, back in the 70s, as soon as you joined, you were referred to as Mr. by all the managers, and you also referred to everyone else as Mr. So sort of respect was given and respect was accepted. So yeah, that was quite nice. But and just at the end of this lane, there was a motor transport workshop, the garage. It was an ordinary title. And we used to bring our vans from all over East Devon, Tiverton, Horton, Axminster, Ottering, for repair. And postmen are, they're not known for their sort of careful drives, are they? And you would bring there was one individual, one mechanic, who used to have a famous lump hammer and a big pot of Goss paint, and would knock out the dents and slap on the red paint, and off you'd go. But sometimes they'd run out of red vans, and we'd have to have the telecom vans, the yellow one. So you'd be out on delivery, delivering mail, and you'd pull up at someone's house, and the lady in the house would usually come and say, "There's nothing wrong with the phone." But, yeah, sadly those days are gone, they're all got stood up. But it used to be the largest commercial fleet in Western Europe. Unbelievable. But, that's how big they were. But we move on. So I was lucky enough to drive the last Morris 1000 in Devon, which was, yeah, that was quite nice. We used to have a proper yellow lock and everything else. I've also delivered mail with a horse, my own horse. We were asked to take part in a Victorian week, and someone suggested that we delivered the mail. So Post Office Museum was very good. Put a carriage on a low loader and sent it down from the museum in London, and we hitched up our mare and off we went and delivered the mail for a week. We got paid overtime as well, which was even better. Yeah, so the last postal deliveries in Devon were on Exmoor in the 70s, where the guy actually used his own horse. And because I used to go out and test other postmen, I've actually got the criteria for testing someone on horseback, which I'd love to do, but can't see that ever happening. But what's that? Another one of my jobs, I used to have to phone Buckingham Palace to confirm the delivery of the 130 telegrams and the diamond wedding, isn't it, 60 thing, which was quite nice. You know, I had this phone number and I phoned the palace, and there was always three voices. There was always this very stern lady. Yeah, please state your business with the royal household. And you said who you were, and that was fine. And then there was this really polite gentleman who was really, I should imagine, sort of ex-foreign office type. And then there was a young lad with a South London accent. "Oh, all right, mate, thanks ever so much." So yeah, that one sticks in mind. But slightly just away from the post office, I was taking a British Royal Society exam, and a part of that training was done on evening classes. And we were taking the temperature of horses about 9:30 on a cold November evening putting thermometers where you wouldn't want them and the horses didn't want to know. And from the next stable I heard this voice say, oh, I've worked with Prince Philip's driving horses for 3 years, and then the other side, oh, well, I've worked for Prince Charles's polo ponies for 2 years. So I put on my feet. Oh, I've worked for Her Majesty for 25 years. Don't get over the stable before. And I looked up and I said, yeah, I'm a postman. So it gets you around. Some of them, we've just had the 50th anniversary of the Great Train Opera. Yeah. And that was a mail train travelling north. And did anybody work in a bank in the 60s? 70s? All the used notes used to go back to the Bank of England for destruction on those mail trains. So they used to have these huge laundry baskets, wicker baskets on wheels, the size of these tables, yeah, full of used notes, which were pushed out across the road at St David's, along platform 1, across the tracks to platform 5 for the up TPO. And 2 postmen, on either end, and a whistle for protection. It's no wonder they rob trains, but that's went on all over the country, the 4 big clearing bags every day. And that money just used to go back that way. The strange thing was, of course, they all got caught, and a lot of them ended up selling mailbags. And another one of my jobs was taking the mailbags for repair to the prison. They would never check you going in, but they always check the van coming out. And yeah, we used to get the most fantastic embroidery designs on the bags, and there'd be like spiders' webs and flowers. And these guys were really handy with the needles. So yeah, but they're not allowed to do that anymore, and you can't because they're the wrong material. But yeah, there's a little bit of post office history. And the other thing was on those travelling post office, on the trains, you used to be for an extra penny. There was a letterbox in the side of the carriage, and you pay a late fee, 1 extra penny, and that would get to that destination. So, while the train was on the move, yes. Those were the days. And you know, I mean, you've all heard of postcode lottery. It affects your insurance, your car, your home, and I've got a good friend who's the manager in Glastonbury. But because all the surrounding area of Glastonbury floods, people who live on that hill can't get insurance for flooding because it's just the wrong postcode. But and I was lucky enough to meet years on. He was a manager at Croydon, which were the trials for the postcodes back in the 60s. This guy was a manager, and we got to know each other. He came to the door one day and we started talking. He said, oh, you're the union rep boy, I can tell. So, and then every day after that, every time I delivered there, I got a cup of coffee made with condensed milk. And I told him that I was going to be tested. And I had a guy with a stopwatch who used to clock you, every move you made. And he said, oh, just slow down, boy. He said, I always used to tell him, slow down, slow down. And the day of the test, it was a day like today, really action then. And at the end of his drive, or road, was this shrubbery. And I could hear him going, slow down, boy, slow. And he was crouched under the bushes. To which the testing officer didn't think it was very amusing. But yeah, it was pretty good. So, being a very young postman back in the 70s, and one of my deliveries took me to a builder's. And in those days they used to convey the workforce on the back of vans, usually on a flatbed with a sort of rolling along tin shed on the back. And people obviously in the road took in foreign students. And I'm walking up the street and this young lady comes over. She's probably under 20. She goes, oh, Mr. Postman, do you have any French letters for me? To which there's 20 builders waiting to get on the gates. You can imagine the reaction I got. Yeah, so things to say. But it used to be, there used to be real characters. And they were real comedians, sort of Spike Milligan type. I I mean, the humour was fantastic. But we had one guy, this was in Exeter, and he was called Humphrey, and he used to work nights, but he also did a delivery. He used to work late nights and early, and he would often do his own delivery on overtime. So during the night, they were working, but during the night he would wear carpet slippers out on the floor, and he also wore a dicky bow tie. Always wore a dicky bow tie. Anyway, during the night he would take a trolley with the mail for the said delivery down in the lift, nobody would know, and he'd go out and deliver this. And at 3 in the morning he was arrested by the police. In his shirt sleeves, carpet slippers and a dicky bow tie, delivering down the southern east to advance himself in the morning. But yeah, and they actually give him the office and does this person work for you? But yeah, it was great times and not quite so much. And then sort of people always say about dogs, yeah. But the stuff that I found, bees, used to transport bees in little tiny packages, that was quite good. Pheasants, that wasn't so good because they just used to have the address label tied around the neck. So you take a bag, and I would drop this. They'd just been recently shot, so it was flat over a while. So it was, yeah, and they were allowed to send game. Like, would you want to read that? Tarantula spiders in packages, that was out painted. Ferrets, caught them loose in office. And snakes. Yeah, actually in a van. Yeah, so takes all sorts. Oh, this is, you might like this, but this is my take on how the post office has affected history. And it's the Easter Uprising, 1916, O'Connell Street in Dublin. And I don't think it had anything to do with running on country, I think it was just complaining about the length of the queue. But the other one would be 1939, Neville Chamberlain. If I don't receive a reply from her, Hitler, this country's at war. And I'm sure the second delivery was late going in from Southwest EO that day. Yeah, there's a postman, you're there. Birthdays, anniversaries, you're delivering all the good news as well, aren't you? The bad news. So that's always a sort of nice one. And I've been in offices with floods, but how many times Autry flooded. But Bideford was quite interesting because it used to come up to the top of about an inch from the top, and is it going to come in, or is it not? And I can't think what the little squares called outside Bideford office, but it escapes me. But yeah, that was always an interesting one. And bomb scares, been one or two with those. And my friend Tina at that time was my manager, and we were told to evacuate. And she said, no, I'm not going without a coat. And she made us go up against the sort of stream of bodies going out, because the bomb squad would take 5 hours to come down from the pool. Oh. So yeah, in December you don't stand inside for 5 hours, they would come. But that was another sort of pretty good. And always a sort of worry, there was one firm, there was a small firm in Autry used to make specialist equipment for the fire brigade, and their alarms would go off in the mail, and that used to shut offices down. These things would be sent back to a factory for you, and they'd sort of sound off, and we'd get phone calls. No, it's all right. Other famous postmen. Fred Esco, Mastermind winner. Terry Griffith, world snooker champion. Kathleen Ferrier, classical singer, worked in the telegraph office at Blackpool. But the most famous of them all, Alan Smethurst. The singing postman. Have you got a light boy? He really was. Was that a good? My finest Lincolnshire accent. Actually was a postman. Started as a Christmas casual, but liked the job and asked the manager if he could stay on. But he went on, and they actually kept the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Hollies off the #1 slot for a fortnight. So, that was that. Anybody visit their local bed shops? Technology? This is a nice little story. Well, bed shops. It's all technology now, and it's all digital and everything. But the race cars used to have to come down from Newmarket, but because Newmarket was out on a limb, they would never make it in time. So they would send them down the night before as a Red Star parcel on the railway. The bookish runner would meet train, and then bring them over with the postage on into the sorting office so they can be posted all around there. So that's that information, that's the only way that information can make it